Official title, Chairwoman.
Yes.
Excellent. Thanks for making time today. I'm curious your just instant gut reaction as the numbers have come in, and a lot of these look to be final.
Yes, thrilled to death. There's been so many upsets. There's been things we didn't expect that would happen. But we did, obviously, the grassroots spoke. There were a lot of grassroots who worked very hard in these very contentious precinct committee man and women races. There were legislators that got in that I don't think we really had on our radar. But it was a real mixed bag of results, and I think it was pretty exciting. And last night was a lot of fun as well, and thank you for being there and covering the event, because there were a lot of folks there.
You said the grassroots spoke. What does that mean exactly?
Well, the grassroots spoke in the fact that we did maintain a lot of precinct committee races. In doing so, we will now have the delegates go to Coeur d'Alene, and hopefully we can keep the same folks in our administration that we currently have.
As you have become chair of this party, it seems that it has become more conservative and how the platform rules have tilted in a more conservative camp. Do you believe that's going to hold based on what you're seeing with those committee results?
Well, first of all, I disagree with that. And I know that there's one of our executive board members put out a letter saying that we came up with 16 new rules at the convention that I was elected at. That is not true. Those rules have been around for a few years, so a bunch of new rules did not come into play. I think the issue is that someone's now expecting enforcement or for the party to follow the rules. And that's been the problem for years now. I think with the Republican Party, the expectations for some counties were not the same for others, and that would create some hard feelings. If everybody would follow the rules, I don't think we'd have the hard feelings that we've had in the past, and it has created the division that we had once I became chair.
So you're saying that you didn't make this party more conservative. What you're saying is, since I've become chair, we're going to hold people accountable to the standards we always had.
Exactly. And it's not, when they start talking about this arbitrary line, that here's the conservative line and someone has moved extreme or to the left or right, that's not true. I've never moved from where I've been for my entire life as a Republican. Most Republicans in this office haven't either. Most people I know haven't moved. Some people have moved farther to the left, which then they accuse us of being extremist when we're only staying the course and have been at the same position the entire time.
Why do you think that's happening then?
Well, it's easy to throw stones. And fact of the matter is that there's a lot of Democrats in the state would like to see something similar to the Colorado, Rocky Mountain heist. They want to take this state over. So what better way to do it than to demean, malign, defame people that are currently in this party?
You talk about holding people accountable. Lori McCann, Matt Bundy, Julie Yamamoto, Stephanie Mickelson, Mark Sauter, Kevin Cook. It's a long list of people that the central committees have censured.
Sure. Well, yes, especially when it's very contrary to what our platform stands for. These votes that were made, it's county by county. If you notice, some counties did censure and others didn't. These are counties that feel very strongly about some of these votes. The one on the mutilation of minors with transgender surgery and hormone blockers, that's not reversible. That is a huge impact on a child's life moving forward. So that is not a value that the Republicans share. We think people should be adults when they make those decisions and not when they're children and just going through menopause, I'm not menopause, excuse me, but anyway, going through the changes in life and getting to the point where they have to decide what they want and where their interests lie. Kids change a lot. So anyhow, that was one of the big ones of those folks that you've mentioned. And there's other ones. The launch bill, that was one that a lot of folks didn't like. And if you know, it just passed by one vote to actually fund it. That means there's going to be a lot of contention on a vote like that to pay for a student's college just because they walked out of a high school. So, I think those are the kinds of issues because we are fiscally accountable, or we try to make sure that's how our legislators look at these funding bills.
I think some people would say the accountability comes back at the elections, where if you're not doing a good job, then the voters will tell you by not voting for you. But when I look at this list of people that have been censured, Matt Bundy and Julie Yamamoto are the only two I know of that didn't win their election last night.
Well, and that's true, but some of them were close. I think the McCann one was close. So they were voted out, for sure. But you've got to also remember Yamamoto was on the education committee, and school choice is a fundamental value in our platform. So when you don't allow even a hearing on something as important as school choice, then it's going to raise the ire of people who want some options. And I was cleaning out my office at the home the other day, and I was looking at the 2014 resolutions that passed. That was one of them. It's been 10 years in Idaho since we've been trying to get any really good bill as far as on school choice, and we don't have one. So, there's slow slogs, slow fights to get to that point, but those folks ignored that one item that a lot of people have a lot of interest in.
I'll have to go fact check this later. I'm not going to say this is gospel, but I do think the voter turnout was like 20%, maybe even lower than that.
And I'm sorry, Andrew, but I don't know. I was up late going through some numbers. I got up very early to get here and take care of things so I could meet with you. So anyway, I have not even had a chance to look at that. 30%, I believe, is what everyone was hoping for, but I haven't seen those final numbers either.
I mean, the number is low, and my thought is, I heard this from Speaker Moyle last night. Is he then Senate Pro Tem Chuck Winder now? I mean, he lost, so.
Right.
He told us that he also believes that it has to do with the caucus being not tied to that primary. People might have less interest because there's not that big ticket item on the ballot.
Well, I mean, I know that's the move that a lot of people that did want to move it to the May primary. Again, that's a discussion for next year when they address that issue. But fact of the matter is, and real quick, had we not kept it in March, May meant nothing. We would have been totally irrelevant as a state. But I think as far as the turnout, look at all the negative advertising used in these campaigns. I would go home to east of Stanley, and I got into my mailbox. I had 15 mailers in 2 days because my husband picked up the mail a couple days before. That is obscene, and it really is. I mentioned that the other night. When I ran my legislative race, I put out one mailer, and all it talked about is where I wanted to take the district, not beat up, defame the person I'm running against. And I think it's a real turnoff for people. They don't know what to believe anymore. The media is not the friend of getting out the truth on these campaigns, and I've seen it all the time.
Why do you say that the media is not the friend of getting out the truth?
Well, I've seen it a lot on TV, and I'm speaking to you today, and I don't go on TV very often for the very fact that our words are twisted and misconstrued. When I'm on the radio, my words are coming right out, and you can hear it out of my own voice. And you cannot misconstrue or twist those. And I have seen that happen. And that's unfortunate. So I wish the media would be more truthful and the information they're putting out and not twist it for a certain narrative.
Those mailers, though, I mean, like Young Americans for Liberty was the money behind those. That has nothing to do with NBC, ABC, Fox.
No,
anything.
That's true. But again, it came from all angles. So I think people were just being bombarded with a lot of misinformation. Where do I find out the truth? I'm just not even going to vote, and I think that's a good part of it. And it's too bad. And you're right. The mailers from the Young Americans for Liberty was unfortunate. It took out Julianne Young, who was our liaison between the Idaho GOP and the House. She is a stellar legislator. There's a 10-vote spread. I'm sure there will be a recount on that election between her and her opponent. But there was a lot of good last night. More good, I believe, outweighed some of the losses. And I'm looking forward to having a really good year. You got to know, Andrew, you got to look at it this way. Last year was a very hard year for any chair in this Republican Party. We lost a presidential primary. We gave people an opportunity to weigh in on their president. It took 5 months to prep for that, to put on an election like that. And that was a lot of work. And then, now we're fighting ranked choice voting. We have boxes and boxes you'll see out there of literature to get the information out against the dangers of ranked choice voting, which will harm our state. And I think we've been pretty busy. It's a good time right now to have the elections. The outcomes, again, outweigh the bad parts. And I think this coming year and next 2 years in the Republican Party are going to be very exciting.
You brought it up, sort of that open primary initiative, which you can argue about the labeling of that. I think ranked choice is maybe a better way to label it, but they kind of work in conjunction in that initiative. There's a whole conversation to have about the single subject piece of it. But the primary right now does block out independent, unaffiliated voters. There's more of those than there are Democrats in the state of Idaho. These elections look different if independents and unaffiliates can vote in the Republican primary, which tends to decide more so than the general what the state looks like.
But Andrew, I don't want the independents and the unaffiliated coming in and picking my quarterback for my team. You know, if you're going to be part of the team, then you get to weigh in on that. But if you aren't, then you don't. It's been that way for, ever since the beginning and formation of our country. So the fact that now all of a sudden we're just going to have a uniparty doesn't work for the Republican Party. And I'm not saying that for job security because I don't get paid a dime for this job. I'm saying it because we should pick our leaders.
Does it feel that way, that it's our team versus their team? Because we are one country and we do need to work together. Like, we're all Americans. Is America not the team? Are the teams lower than that?
But we definitely have a different approach. And you know that as far as the Democrat team, we have Bidenomics. We have a border with illegals coming through every day, large numbers of them, taxing our citizens to pay for their well-being. And there's a different approach from the Republican Party as Trump was trying to put up the wall and to secure our borders, which is a good idea, and compared to as far as what the Democrat Party thinks. So there's some stark differences, and I think everybody knows that. And to try to all of a sudden, like we're going to sing Kumbaya and go ahead and let everybody come over the border and give everybody driver's license and let people who are not citizens of the United States vote, that does not work.
Do you believe that each party needs each other? That there is value to there being dissenting voices that challenge you and make you think and maybe go a different direction when things aren't working? Like, is there value in that?
Oh, I don't know, but it sure does raise the ire of a lot of folks in this state when you have a drag queen show on 9/11 in front of the Capitol on a Sunday and you want kids to go up and dance with drag queens. I think yes, they do. The Democrat Party does serve a purpose because that definitely lets me know I'm in the right place.
Do you think there's a better way to characterize the Democrats than that? Do you think there's maybe a more accurate way to get to the core of the party and what they want to do?
Of course I was sensationalizing right there. You do know that.
I know that, and I'd prefer you don't. I mean, you're the same woman that told me last night you don't like to use the word rhino.
I don't, and I haven't.
I want to talk to that person. Like, do you think there's value that there potentially could be a strong Democrat core that you would believe is reasonable, that there's value to having that person on the other end to talk to and contend with, iron sharpens iron kind of thing? Do you think that Republicans need Democrats like Democrats need Republicans?
Well, like you said, it does sharpen the iron. I will tell you, though, as a legislator, I worked very well. Alana Rebell and I get along very well. And there's other Democrats in the legislature I definitely got, along with as well. So, yes, especially when it's in the legislative arena, it does. It does. I mean, and it's much more prevalent when you are engaging with those in the Democrat Party or any other party. But I think that Idahoans, people don't move here because they're unsure of what type of environment they're going to retire in or come raise their family or bring their grandkids to or what have you. I think they expect it to be a conservative state. And it's my job as chair to make sure we maintain and uphold the values of the Republican Party.
Big piece of that goes back to the precinct committeemen. I want to talk about that before we let you go. I know.
I thought it was a 2-minute interview.
Yeah, a little bit longer, huh? So these precinct committeemen, excuse my ignorance, I might be exposing myself a little bit, but this isn't anything I've really thought of until about a year ago.
Great civics lesson, isn't it?
Right?
Yeah.
So these elections that I think the general public long thought was really not that big a deal are now getting tons of attention. Mm-hmm. And they have a lot of power. They are censuring lawmakers and their central committees. Like, these people can do a lot.
They can do a lot. And, that's kind of their job. They are the base, the foundation of this party. And to me, they're the most important part of this party. We have over, 950 precinct committee people. Those precinct committee people are the ones who work the caucus. because each precinct person had a poll book in front of them and welcomed you in to sign up to get a ballot. That's their job. Precinct committee men aren't there just to blow up balloons and bake cookies and lick envelopes. They're there to serve in that capacity, to help when we need to enfranchise voters. They are there that when you have a death or a vacancy in a county commissioner seat position, a sheriff or a county commissioner or even a legislator retires or moves off, they are the ones who decide among their community who they know and trust to suggest to fill those positions. That's a very important position. To me, they are the bedrock of the Republican Party. And it is a grassroots, bottom-up type of organization. And yes, they should have a voice. They shouldn't just be blowing up balloons, baking cookies, and licking envelopes.
And they elect the people that elect you, if I understand properly.
Correct. So the PCs that were just voted in, which we do have more that support what I've been doing.
Did you make gains on it?
I did. So anyway, that's good. So then these committees will meet, the PCs will meet, they will organize to make sure all 44 counties have a chairman, a state committee man, state committee woman, and a youth committee person, 4 each. And then what they will do is those PCs will go on to vote in delegates. A lot of them will want to be delegates. We're going to have a great time up in Coeur d'Alene. It's the 13th through the 15th. On Saturday, that is when we will vote for the executive officers. There's the chair, first vice chair, second vice chair, secretary, and treasurer. So there's 5 elected officials on the 15th of June.
Seems like you've been enjoying your role as the chair. Do you plan to stick around?
I think I will. I'll let you know right now, Andrew, that I would like to be chair for 2 more years. I don't think I will have as many days working on things like the caucus. I would like to spend more time on, working with the legislators. Once we have resolutions passed at our winter meeting, right before the session starts with the new legislature, we'll talk about what issues we'd like to see move through. And one of them was, a couple of years ago, that we prohibit ranked choice voting in this state, which is what we did. The resolution came forward, the legislature carried it through, and it was signed into the law. That's the process that should be followed. It shouldn't be lobbyists coming up with a bill, hey, let's do this, increase the taxes, let's give these properties to whatever. It needs to be from the grassroots is how government should work.
Kevin, what do you want to know?
I think the only thing I was just thinking of, we maybe touched on already, but when we talked to Speaker Moyle last night and to Senator Winter this morning, they both mentioned that the negative campaigning, especially the out-of-state money, seems like a problem. Mm-hmm. Because if people see that this kind of thing can work, there's just going to be more of this out-of-state money coming in, trying to mix things up. Do you see that as a problem? Is it a concern?
Sure, it's a problem, but one thing you're not addressing is the dark money within state. One thing you're not talking about is the dark money within state. These PC races were run and supported by dark money. The Gem State conservatives came up with this money. There's a lot of sources for this money, but no one knows because it's not reportable. Precinct races are not reportable. So that means unknown money was used to give campaign in a box to hundreds of candidates that the Gem State conservatives wanted to run. Those folks were given money to run. The grassroots PCs that were already in place paid their own way. They bought their own signs. They put up billboards or whatever they needed to do. So I think that's another question. There might be this money coming in from out of state, but let's talk about the untraceable money that was used in this past election to take out the very valuable grassroots to this party who now have been replaced.
If it's untraceable, how do you know that it happened?
Excuse me?
If it's untraceable, how do you know that it happened?
Well, believe it or not, the signs actually said paid for by. Okay? So we know what PACs they came from.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there's some investigative reporting yet to do today, guys.
You're giving me some tasks. That's
I
good.
am.
It'll keep me busy. I guess the one last thing, Young Americans for Liberty, that's more of a libertarian group. And they're going after, when I look at Julianne Young, I'd call her a strong conservative. Mm-hmm. That doesn't fit right in my head. Do you have any idea why certain people were targeted using her as an example?
You know, I truly, Andrew, I do not know. It was a very unfortunate mistake, and that's what I call it. I don't know what those people were thinking. Julianne Young is without a doubt, I think, one of the most articulate and poised legislators on the floor. And she does her research. She has her kids. She has a lot of kids, and she wants to make sure this state is saved as a freedom, bastion and as a state of liberty to raise them in. And the fact that she lost by 10 votes is very sad. Yes, I would blame it on those mailers, without a doubt. It isn't because she doesn't have the skills and the people in the community didn't know it. They were inundated with multiple mailers that were slanderous, full of lies, and very unfortunate. And I'm very sad to see. It's a huge loss for the state of Idaho.
Shows them that it works. You can throw a lot of money at a seat you want, and it works.
So money works. So I think that's something maybe the legislature needs to address. They really do. It was obscene, the amount it's amazing how much good work we could have done with all that money used on all these campaigns. Seriously. Yeah, a lot of money.
Anything you want to touch on before I let you go?
No, but it's very pleasant being interviewed by you. You're very nice.
I appreciate that. Well, thanks for giving us some time today. I know you got other stuff
Yeah, you're welcome.
Need to knock out.